Well, first of all, good morning to everyone. Second of all, I want to thank Cleola for taking all my speech away from me just about. We're talking about APRI and all that stuff, which is her job, and I can understand that. But to you, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. President Dagger offers delegates and friends of the ILA. Thank you, President, my longtime friend and colleague, for the invitation to address the 55th International Convention. I have not missed the convention since my first one in the 1970s, and I honored once again to continue. I'm honored to continue in your ranks. I began my career in 1958 at Port Newark. I was only 20 years old when I became a member of Local 1233, when my father and grandfather were already members. From the early days as a longshoreman and through my years as a forklift driver, a foreman, and shop steward, I knew that I could have a job, good benefits, and a pension. I also understood that with this job, I could support my family, buy a home, and educate my children, and enjoy some of the finer things in life. And now, 61 years later, I stand here as an active member of Local 1233's Retirees Association. And I'm still president of Local 2049. Now, there's a brother here by the name of Pierre Dossiers. He's been my secretary-treasurer for the last 25 years since I had this local. Pierre, would you please stand up? I'd also like to say that I'm proud that my children went to college. My son graduated college, and my granddaughter graduated college, and that makes 5 generations of Owenses in the ILA. I met Harold Daggett in the 1980s when Teddy Gleason was president. Harold, Ron Capri, Jimmy Cashin, and Edward Lee were members of this committee, along with some from Hoboken, Bayonne, Staten Island, and New York. We had all these members on this committee. That's when I first met my brother down there, as well as I know it, somebody's trying to that counts me, but who's now president of Willie Adams. And I met back in those days when we were on strike. And they did not cross our picket lines. We went out there and stood up, and they let us do whatever we had to do. And we did that, and we got our contract back here in New York. Then Harold and I that's when we really started our friendship, then many years ago. When I retired as the ILA's African Americans' first general organizer, President Daggett appointed me for the Civil Rights Committee, which he established. Since then, I've taken time to think about all my beliefs and experiences, to figure out how to commit our committee into doing what was best for us. The committee developed a mission statement and guidelines for operations. We selected 13 members, from various ports throughout the country. We elected diversity in our committee. The committee members, fundraisers, that's how we get our money. We make money for doing some fundraisers every year and support our labor organizations, such as a Philip Randolph Institute and Coalition of Black Trade Unions. The committee collaborated with other groups, including the New Jersey Advisory Board, and the AFL-CIO to address our goals in common. The committee held its awards dinner. They will be honoring deserving individuals connected to the ILA who have demonstrated their commitment to our civil rights. Our first honoree was Harold Daggett. The committee invested in women's leadership, development, and paid expenses for our female members to attend. The committee contributed to families who were victims of hate crimes, who have suffered losses and injury on the jobs, with the important issues in our nation today, like senseless killings of our churches and our schools and public buildings, racism, injustice, and lost jobs and hatred. Please be assured that this committee remains true to its mission. We will continue to fight for civil rights for everyone. And on a personal note, I look forward to the day when there will not be a need for a civil rights committee. Will the members of the Civil Rights Committee stand as I call your name? Herbert Hall, Stephen Knott, Alan Robb, Marianne Gillespie, Yvette Flowers, Mary Gimmer, Greg Washington, Michael Baker, Rodney Owens, Luis Gonzalez, Patrick Murphy, Ron Roscoe, Carlos Sanchez-Ortez. Would you please give them a hand? I thank all of you for what you've done for this committee and how you've made it work successfully in this union. Now, realizing it benefits to the local, President Bernard Dudley and his officers, Herbert Hall and Buddy Smith, supported an organization, that might not be an organization, but a group of guys who were dedicated members of ILA Local 1233. Norman Jackson and Ali Binding. I'm sorry, Ali, but I want you two guys to stand up because what they do is they teach us and they teach these young kids when they come into the port, and Howard, you mentioned this the other day, that a guy just shouldn't get a job on the port and go down there and say, go to work. You need to have some idea about what this job is really mean to us as a group. It helps them to learn how to make better decisions and how to do things that's correct to help the union and themselves. If your local is not started an education committee like this, as your civil rights chairman, I recommend you to follow the example of Local 1233. And that goes for every local in here. You need to teach your people when they go on those docks, not just to walk in there and say, hey, go do this, do that. You tell them how important it is first, how they got there, how they got to be members of the International Longshoremen's Association. Now, in closing, if we don't do our jobs well, if we don't take care of the ships that come into our ports, remember, there's more water in the world than there is earth. The ships don't have to come into our ports. So take care of the goose. I call the goose that lays the golden egg for all of us. While we make these great jobs, make money, we have a good living and all these things, Take care of the goose. Take care of the ships when they come in there. They'd be glad to come into our ports where we get the jobs and our family have these jobs to live on. So, and my final words I want to say to the union has been my life's honor and a blessing. Yes, I will miss you, all of you, all the good things, the great unions, and for many, many years, I plan to be around as long as I can to come to these conventions and to help the ILA in any way I can. And Harold, thank you, and Stevie, and all these guys, Robo, so many of you, we have a love affair that will go forever. And I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.